Would you eat meat that never saw a farm, never had a heartbeat, and never suffered in a slaughterhouse? Imagine biting into a juicy burger that tastes exactly like beef but came from a lab, not a cow. This isn't science fiction. It's happening. Right now. In this video, we're diving into one of the most controversial, futuristic, and potentially revolutionary food technologies ever created. Lab-grown meat, also known as cultured meat. We'll explore how it's made, the latest developments, the ethical dilemmas, health concerns, societal debates, and whether it can really save the planet, or just serve as a fancy PR stunt. Stick around to the end because we'll also answer the question on everyone's mind. Is lab-grown meat safe, or are we just growing our next food crisis in a petri dish? What is lab-grown meat? Lab-grown meat, also called cultured, cultivated, or cell-based meat, is produced by taking a small sample of animal cells, usually muscle cells, and feeding them nutrients in a controlled environment. The cells multiply and grow into muscle tissue, which is essentially the meat we eat. It doesn't involve raising animals, feeding them for years, or slaughtering them. One biopsy from a cow could theoretically produce thousands of burgers. And yes, it's real meat. It has the same protein, fat, texture, and flavor because it's biologically identical. Recent developments in 2020, Singapore became the first country to approve lab-grown chicken for commercial sale. By 2023, the US FDA and USDA approved 2 companies, Upside Foods and Good Meat, to sell lab-grown chicken. People are already eating it in select high-end restaurants. Scientists and startups are now working on lab-grown beef, lamb, pork, fish, and even exotic meats like kangaroo and foie gras. The goal? To create meat that is scalable, sustainable, and indistinguishable from traditional meat. The global cultured meat market was valued at $246 million in 2022 and is projected to reach nearly $25 billion by 2030. The environmental angle raising livestock is one of the biggest contributors to greenhouse gas emissions, deforestation, and water usage. Livestock accounts for around 14.5% of global greenhouse gas emissions. It takes over 1,800 gallons of water to produce just 1 pound of beef. 3. Forests are cleared to grow soy and corn for animal feed, not people. Lab-grown meat could cut greenhouse gas emissions by up to 96% and reduce land use by over 99%, according to a University of Oxford study. It also eliminates the need for antibiotics and reduces the risk of zoonotic diseases like bird flu and swine flu. Still, critics point out that the process currently uses significant energy and needs a clean, renewable energy grid to fulfill its green promise. The pros of lab-grown meat: animal welfare, no animals are slaughtered. Environmental impact, reduced emissions, water and land use. Food security, can be produced in controlled environments, even in urban areas. Public health, no need for antibiotics, lower risk of disease. Custom nutrition, potential to engineer meat with less fat or more nutrients. Innovation opportunities, new startups and job markets could emerge in food technology. The cons and hazards: energy use. Current production methods consume high energy. Sustainability depends on renewable energy. Cost, still expensive. A lab-grown burger cost $330,000 in 2013. Today it's around $10 to $50, but not yet price competitive. Public skepticism. Many people find the idea unnatural or Frankenfood. Regulatory hurdles. Only a few countries have approved it so far. Cultural resistance. Food is deeply tied to culture, religion, and tradition. 6. Limited product variety. So far, most products are processed, nuggets, meatballs, not whole cuts like steak or ribs. Ethical considerations. Ethically, lab-grown meat sits in a strange space. It doesn't involve killing animals, but it often uses fetal bovine serum, FBS, derived from unborn calves to grow the cells. Though many companies are moving toward plant-based or synthetic alternatives. There are also concerns about transparency, patenting life, and corporate control over food. Would we be trading one form of exploitation for another? Just more high-tech? And who owns this food future? Big tech? Biotech monopolies? Or the people? Will the technology be accessible and affordable, or become another luxury reserved for the elite? Health and safety. So far, studies show that lab-grown meat is safe to eat, but long-term effects are still unknown. It doesn't contain hormones or antibiotics, which is a plus, but it might lack some of the natural microbiome found in traditional meat, and questions remain about its digestibility and nutritional profile. How does the human body react to lab-grown proteins over decades? Also, how do you regulate something that isn't farmed or slaughtered? That's a policy puzzle regulators are still solving. The bigger picture, can it replace traditional meat? Maybe, but probably not soon. Traditional meat isn't going away anytime soon. Lab-grown meat still faces scaling issues, cost barriers, and taste challenges. Plus, the meat industry is a trillion-dollar giant with deep political roots. More likely, cultured meat will be part of a diverse food system alongside plant-based proteins, sustainable animal farming, and vertical agriculture. Think of it like the electric car of the food world. Promising, but still in its early days. Even within the environmental movement, some argue that regeneratively raised livestock can sequester carbon, enhance biodiversity, and support rural economies. Societal concerns. Despite its innovations, lab-grown meat faces real pushback from society. Trust issues. Many people worry about how natural or safe this meat is. Loss of tradition. Meat isn't just food, it's culture, religion, memory. Corporate control. There's fear that big tech or biotech firms will dominate food supply chains. Job disruption. Millions work in traditional meat industries. What happens to them? Labeling confusion. Should it be called meat? People want clear, honest labeling. Psychological discomfort. For some, the very thought of lab-grown food feels unsettling or dystopian. These concerns are not just about food. They're about identity, economy, and values. Food isn't just fuel, it's family, heritage, ritual, and celebration. From seeds to cells, are we losing touch with real food? Beyond meat, there's another quiet shift happening. A move away from organic, natural food systems towards synthetic substitutes. Once our crops came from heirloom seeds passed down generations. Now, most global agriculture relies on GMO seeds, designed in labs, controlled by a few agrochemical giants. Once our livestock grazed in open fields. Today, we're talking about growing meat in vats, away from sun, soil, and sky. This shift raises big questions. Are we sacrificing nutritional richness and biodiversity for uniformity and convenience? Will future generations grow up disconnected from how food is grown, raised, and harvested? What happens when all food becomes a product, not a process? This fast-paced transformation may seem like progress, but at what cost? We might be gaining efficiency but losing resilience, identity, and our ancestral relationship with nature. If we replace every seed, every animal, and every method with a lab-made version, do we risk forgetting the value of food that comes from the earth, not the lab? Lab-grown meat is exciting, but it's not a silver bullet. While it promises sustainability and ethics, traditional meat, when farmed responsibly, plays a vital role in culture, economy, and nutrition. Regenerative agriculture, ethical farming, and local sourcing are powerful tools that often get ignored in the rush for futuristic solutions. Real meat, raised the right way, nourishes more than just the body. It nourishes communities, traditions, and ecosystems. Maybe the answer isn't replacing real meat, but improving how we produce it. Because for many, meat isn't just what's on the plate, it's how they connect with nature, land, and tradition. And while cultured meat might win over tech enthusiasts and eco-conscious foodies, the heart of food will always be rooted in the soil. So would you try a lab-grown steak? Or does the idea make you want to run to the nearest farm and hug a real cow? Let us know in the comments below. Like, share, and subscribe for more deep dives into the weird, wild, and tasty future of food. And if anyone tells you that burger came from a petri dish, just smile and say, "Yeah, but at least no cow had to die for my cheat day." Or, you know what? Maybe I'll just take a grass-fed ribeye, fire up the grill, and call it a day. Thanks for watching. And remember, whether it's lab-grown or farm-fresh, the future of food is in your hands and on your plate.